Fillet work with a pair of objects to do 3 things. 1. One is to extend. There is fillet. Click on it. Click on radius. Type 0 and then press enter. Select this line and then select this line. You will get a nice intersection. The second is to trim 2 crossing lines back to their intersection point. Select fillet again. Select radius. Make sure it is 0. Press enter. Select this line and this line. You will get a nice intersection. The third case is to create an arc, and that happens when the radius is greater than 0. Select fillet. Select radius. Give a number greater than 0. I will go with 10 and then press enter. Select this line and this line, and I will get a nice curve at the intersection. But how fillet works depends entirely on which line you selected. Select fillet. Make the radius to be 0 and then press enter. If I select this line first and then I select this line, all the rest will be gone. However, if I select fillet again, if I select this line and this line, the rest will be gone. I will press Ctrl Z on my keyboard to speed up the process instead of coming back every time you want to use fillet. You can easily select fillet again and click on multiple to speed up the process. I will click on multiple and then select this line and this line. And for this one, I can select this line and this line. You always get the line that you've selected and the rest will be erased. But fillet doesn't just stop at that. I will press enter to end that. It works with both cycles and arcs as well. In a case like this, just select fillet, select the radius. If you want an arc, the radius has to be greater than 0. So give a number. I will give like 50 and then press enter. If I select this cycle and this cycle, I get this nice arc. I will click on the undo here to undo that. Select fillet again. Select multiple to do it multiple times. Now select radius, give it a radius of 70 and then press enter. If I select this one and this one, I get this arc. I'm still in the multiple. I can still select radius and change it to 50. Select this one and get this arc. I can still change it and give it 100 radius. Press enter. Select this cycle and this cycle. Again, lastly, select radius and give it a radius of 200. Press enter. Select this cycle and this cycle. You can get variants of radius in one command using the multiple option. Press enter to finish that command. Let's try to make the fillet arc longer. In a case like this, you can select fillet. Of course, we want to do it multiple times. Select multiple. Select the radius. Type 200 and press enter. I'll select this cycle and this cycle. I will get this. I can select this cycle and this cycle and get this. If I don't want that, I can click on this undo. Click on this undo to undo the last command within the fillet command. If I want, I can change radius to double that. Let's say 400. Type enter. If I select this cycle and this cycle, I take it outside. Let's say I want 200 back. Select radius 200. Press enter. Select this cycle and this cycle, and I have this. Maybe I want 400 again. Select radius give it 400, press enter, select this cycle and this cycle, press enter. I don't know what shape is this, but you can do that and more with fillet command. But how about two parallel lines? If you have something like this, regardless of the radius of the fillet, you will get a nice 180 degrees arc. Select fillet, select this line and this line, you will get this arc. Select the fillet again, select this and this, you will get the arc this way. By the way, you can do it within one action if you've selected the multiple option. But let's combine that with the cycle. If you have a case like this, depends on what you want to achieve. You can use fillet, select radius. I don't know this distance. You can always try and see the distance. Let's leave it at 400. And then I'll press enter. Of course, I want to do it 2 times, so I will select multiple. I'll select this line and this cycle, and I'll get this nice arc. But I feel like it's too long for me, so I'll click on undo, select the radius, and I will try 200 or even 100, and then press enter. I will select the line and I will select I know I made a mistake and put 1100. Press enter. Select the cycle. It will show you a preview. It is from the preview you will know if your value is what you want, or you can click on the radius and change it. This is pretty much what I want, so I'll just click. Select this one again and click. And like I've said, regardless of your radius, if you click 2 parallel lines, you will get an arc. So select this line and this line, you will get a 180 degrees arc. Again, I don't know anything about this symbol, so just press enter. But what if I want to fillet, let's say 20 corners at one time? If the shape is a polyline, like this rectangle, you can select fillet, select radius, let's say 50, I will press enter. There is polyline. Select polyline and it will fillet all the corners at one time. Like I've said, 20 corners. Maybe a shape like this. It's rare to have something like this, but if the shape is a polyline, you can easily select fillet, select the radius. You have to watch out for the smallest place. Maybe this is the smallest. Maybe try 7 and press enter. Select polyline, select the shape, and all the edges will be filleted. Maybe that is too little. Select radius, maybe try 20, press enter, and I'll have something like this. Maybe 10 will work. Select that. But if instead what you have is line, you have to make it a polyline, and to do that you can click once, create a window selection, select everything, and just type J on your keyboard. It is this one you get join. Type J and press enter. Now if you hover over it, it is not a polyline. Else I'll press Ctrl Z to make it lines again. If you select it, click on the modify panel drop down, there is join. Click on join and it is not a polyline. Carry on with your fillet. In some cases though, you might want a fillet, but you want the lines to remain. At the beginning, fillet, trims, and extend. Select fillet, select radius. I will give you something like a radius of 30. Select this line and this line. I didn't ask it to trim that portion. I will press Ctrl Z on my keyboard. Select fillet again. There is trim. Select trim. The default is trim. Then select no trim. If I select this line and this line, I will get my fillet, but the line will remain. I will have to manually select trim and trim it. But fillet within itself has extend and trim. So press Ctrl Z, select fillet again, select trim, make sure trim is the default. And if I select this line and this line, it will trim the portion. And that happens a lot when you are filleting something like a wall. We're in the process of making a wall. For the outer wall, fillet will work just fine, but for the inner ones, let's see. Also, regardless of the radius of the fillet command, I will select the fillet, I will select the radius, I will give it 30,000 if I want, and press enter. If I select the first line, regardless of the radius, hold down the shift key on your keyboard. It will give you a nice intersection like it is 0 radius. Select the line. Select the fillet again. As well, select this first line. Mind you, the radius is 3000. Hold down the shift key and you'll get a nice corner. But for the inner one, I want to get a shape just here and the same one here. But let's see what will happen. Select fillet, select multiple. If I select this line, hold down the shift key and select this one, it will trim this portion. What you do is click on undo. It doesn't matter if you select trim and select no trim and select this line, hold down the shift key and select this one, you still won't get what you want. What you do instead is press the escape key and simply use the trim command manually. And lastly, you can fillet lines and arcs together. Maybe you have something like this. Select fillet, select radius, 30,000, no, maybe try, let's say 40, press enter. Select the arc, select the line, that's not what I want, maybe type 50, press enter. Yeah, that's something I like, that's what I want. Select the arc, you can get something like this, but you are not limited to just what you've seen in this video. You can explore further and try different things. As a little bonus to those who have watched this far, I will show you maybe in less than 1 minute something about chamfer, which is a brother to fillet, but instead of an arc, chamfer creates sloped or beveled edge between two lines. Beside fillet, click on this drop down, select chamfer. You know some of the options from fillet, like the undo and polyline, the trim of course, and the multiple option. With chamfer, you input either two distances or a distance with an angle. Let's start with distance. Select distance, type 20, and then press enter. Instead of typing 20 again, it remembers, it recovers what you've imported. If you want them to be equal, just press enter again to accept 20. Select this line and this line, you will get this chamfer. You can see it doesn't trim this. I think we know why. Press Ctrl Z, select chamfer again, select trim. You can see no trim is the default. Select trim, Select distance, make sure it is 20, press enter again. Select this line and this line, you get equal distance from here to here and from here to here. Not just that, let's chamfer again. You can change the distance. Maybe for the first line we want 20, yes, press enter, but for the second line we want 30, press enter. Select this line and this line and you get something like this. Select the chamfer again. Select the distance. The first one is 20, the second one is 30. Instead of selecting this one, I will select this one first and then select this one. We will get something like this. That's that about the distance method. For the angle method, select angle. You first specify a distance. So I will specify, let's say 20, press enter, and then the angle. Let's try maybe 26 degrees. Press enter. Select this line, then select this line. You get this chamfer at the edge of the object of the lines. Select chamfer again. Select angle. Let's say I want the line from here to somewhere like 35. That's all I'm concerned, and I want it to go to these degrees. Let's say like 30 degrees from here, 30 degrees this way. So select the angle and type 35, press enter, and type the degrees, type 30, and press enter. Select the first line. This is the line I want 35 on. To go at the angle of 30, select this line. And lastly, select chamfer. Select angle. For the length, maybe this one I want just 30. And for the angle, maybe I want 45. Press enter. Select this line. Lastly, select this line. You get a nice 35 length from this point to this point at an angle of 45 to this line. That's it about chamfer and fillet. To see them in action, maybe the fillet. Watch this great video of mine.